What is up, Raider Nation? Welcome into the Silver and Black Show presented by Cox. Erin Coscarelli alongside my all-pro tackle. What's going on, Lincoln Kennedy? Look, the Raiders, we know, coming off a tough loss in the East Coast. They do, though, face maybe, just maybe, their biggest challenge yet. That would be the Kansas City Chiefs. We're going to get to that in a moment. But first, the Raiders outgained the Giants by over 150 yards. They still took an L in New York. What was your takeaway? What do we take away from that game?
Well, you saw that the offensive efficiency still exists. You're able to move the ball between the 20s. However, there were missed opportunities to score. You know, even as poorly as they played with the turnovers and Derek Carr not being as accurate as he's been in the past, they were still a single possession away of taking the game. So that's sort of the good stuff that you can take away. This is still a good football team. But it just goes to show proof. Any given Sunday, anybody can get beat. And it doesn't matter who you are, what record, it happens to us all.
The Broncos beat the Cowboys. The Bills took a loss. But you talk about missed opportunities. 6 chances in the red zone, only came away with 1 touchdown. The Raiders definitely struggled to throw the ball down the field. The deepest pass, how about a 24-yarder to Darren Waller? I do have some good news, though. The Raiders, Link, getting some reinforcements when it comes to the vertical game in the way of a very fast-moving downfield threat by the name of Deshaun Jackson. Here is the newly acquired wideout on joining the team in Las Vegas mid-season.
For me, like I said, the accolades, the stats are there, all that stuff is there, but, I really want to win and, chase a Super Bowl. So, like I said, I think it's a great fit here. I know it's a lot of adversity going on, like you said, with the organization and things that's been here, but, sometimes that's what builds character. When people are always against you and going against you and thinking everything's bad, it definitely shows what a group can do when they, face adversity. So I think right now it's the best time for everybody to gel together, come closer together, and really just, make the best out of the situation. You can't really change what's happened, but the best thing about life is you can always better yourself and move forward day in and day out. So I think, that meeting really, showed for me just being able to come in and be a veteran leader, being a veteran guy. And, I'm not asking to get the ball 100 times. I'm not asking to play 100%. Whatever that role is that fits, just let me play it to the best of my ability.
Well, over the course of his career, Link, Jackson has put up some impressive numbers. Take a look at his rankings dating back to when he first entered the league in 2008. And how about 25-plus yards per reception? That's not bad. In the NFL, that's exactly what you want to see. 17 and a half yards per catch is his average. When you think of a guy like DJ, how can he contribute to this offense?
Well, one of the things is right there, that big play potential with the 25-plus yard receptions. When you have that potential in the offense is what we consider stretching the defense. The defense has to take notice because he is a deep threat. That's one of the things that stand out. And also the fact that he's a veteran. He's been around the league. He's seen just about every defense out there. He can help you in ways. And now it's just a matter of fact of getting on the same page as Derek and everyone else. And I think that's going to happen sooner than later, mainly because, EC, he's coming from a system in the Rams very similar to what the Raiders run. Terminology, definition, and by pure character-wise, what he needs is pretty much simple across the board from the Rams to the Raiders. So it's not a big learning curve for him.
Right, and that's interesting. I mean, the fact that the Rams have a very similar offense to the Raiders certainly makes for a nice acclimation. The guy that will be tasked with throwing DJ the ball, how about Derek Carr? He spoke about the challenge of building chemistry with a new wide receiver in the middle of the season. Take a listen.
From a chemistry standpoint, that you got to get reps. You got to learn how someone cuts, how they like speed cuts. Are they 1-2 at the top? There's a lot of different things that this game is the difference of that. My throw to Hunter is the difference of that. Last week, and even the touchdown I threw to him is a difference of that. All those things, and so it all matters. So hopefully it doesn't take too long. We don't have too long. We're almost to the halfway point of this 30-game season or whatever it is. But you look at it and you say, with a guy like that, with his understanding of coverage, like I don't have to go out there and teach him anything. He already knows what I'm thinking. He's played with so many great quarterbacks. He's one of, if not the best, deep threat that's ever played. He knows where to be and the coverages and how to set them up, and it's easier to work with someone who's played a lot of football. That's for sure.
Yeah, a lot of Derek Carr's passes, as he was pointing out, within inches. I mean, you saw the Hunter Renfrow basically right over his shoulder. Yeah. A lot of contested catches with all of the wideouts this season. So making sure he's on the same page with a deep vertical threat like Deshaun Jackson can leave room for lots of errors in the event, of course, of an interception. Do you anticipate him getting a lot of playtime on Sunday, Deshaun Jackson?
I do anticipate getting a lot of playtime. I don't necessarily think he gets a lot of targets. Now, keep in mind, Derek has notoriously throughout this season spread the ball around to a number of receivers. So it's not like he's been fixated on one target. And when I say getting a lot of targets, runs or plays specifically designed to get to Deshaun Jackson, on average, you run about 65, 70 plays. So for Deshaun to maybe get probably 3 to 5, maybe plays that are directed towards him is considered a lot depending on the flow of the game and everything else. But there are times where you're going to test the defense just to make sure they're being honest. They've done it with all the receivers, and so Deshaun's not going to be any different. And more importantly, Derek, if the run game stymies or stifles a little bit, Derek has the ability to use the run like the pass, where you can also make him a part of it as well.
Right, but that is a very interesting point in that he may not get a lot of targets, but he'll be out there as a possible decoy for defenses to key in on because he will be running down.
And there's also, like Derek said in his interview, reps. You got to get reps together, full speed reps. You got to learn how Deshaun Jackson runs his routes. When does he cut in on his deep end routes? How does he run his deep angle routes? The timing of that. And sometimes you have to see that at full speed in order to make the assessment of whether or not you have enough stretch on the defense, maybe you can take a shot down the field.
All great points indeed. Coming up, hopefully some of that chemistry will be solidified by Sunday. How has Carr fared against the division rivals as of late? We're breaking down what we can expect Sunday against the Chiefs. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
The Silver and Black Show is brought to you by Cox, proud partner of the Las Vegas Raiders. And by Allegiant, the official airline of the Las Vegas Raiders. Low fares, nonstop flights. Book now, only at Allegiant.com.
Yeah, it's been good to see. Again, they've had a chance to play together now for 4 or 5 games, or at least 4 games now. So that's a big part of it, as we talked about early in the season, is continuity up front. And I think we've done some things, and they've done some things as a group, to improve. I wouldn't say we've simplified it, but we're kind of trying to find an identity. Who we are. I think we're closer to finding that identity as an offense in terms of the run game. So. Happy with the improvement, but there's still a long ways to go, and we've got a lot of football left.
Yes, indeed. That from our offensive coordinator, Greg Olson. The Raiders' run game seemingly improved over the past 2 games. Certainly good timing nonetheless. Their 5.85 average yards per rush against the Giants was 3rd highest in the league for Week 9. And their past 2 games they've played have been the 2 highest on the season in terms of their rushing attack. Lincoln, can you break down what you're seeing from the run game in terms of why it's improving?
I would love to, EC.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
One of the things that Coach Olson said about it, he said identity. And when you're trying to create identity, it comes not only from scheme, also from execution. So what I wanted to do for you, EC, as far as the illustration, I wanted to show one play that's synonymous in this offense that the Raiders have gotten efficiently and better at every week. This is we're going to call this 34 wham. Now what you're going to see is Foster Moreau is going to go in motion, and he's going to set up on the right after the motion. But the offensive line is going to push everybody to the right, and Foster Moreau is going to come back and hit the end man on the line of scrimmage. Now, what this does, this saws the defense in half. Now, you watch how aggressive these guys are on man protection. Let's run the play. You see? And as you come downhill, look at that lane. You see how big that lane is for Josh Jacobs?
Wow, yep.
And that's what you call 34 wham. So he's hitting the 4-hole. He either hits his head on the safety or on the goalpost. Okay, let's take another look. Now, I also want to tell you, before we run the tape, EC, running backs, like receivers, run plays differently. So we're going to talk about the same play, 34 wham, but you're going to see the difference between Josh Jacobs and Kenyon Drake. Same play, okay? This is the same. So watch Foster Moreau to run the play. You see the blocking to the right. Foster Moreau's going to clip the end man on the line of scrimmage, but watch Kenyon Drake's reaction to that 4-hole. He sees Andre James and he sees the holes right there in front of him. Instead of cutting back, he gets to the next level. He knows because Colton Miller and Andre James are going to get on their respective linebackers, and there's going to be a nice little hole for either hit his head on the safety or the goalpost. That's what I like to refer to it. So now here's the thing. So pause the tape right there. Let's say in a 4-minute drill, when you're trying to close out a game, you need first downs, like the case for the Philadelphia Eagles game. They're going to load the box. They're going to bring 8 guys in to negate what you do. So if we count them, it's going to count 1 through 8. Look at the guys. Look at the numbers. You see? That's 8 men in the box. Now, you might sit there at home and say, well, we shouldn't run into an 8-man in the box. We're outnumbered. No, we're not. We've got it perfect because now we brought in Alec Ingold. Same play, but now what's going to happen when Foster Moreau hits an in-man on line of scrimmage, Alec Ingold is going to isolate on the Mike backer to give a downhill effect for the running back. Again, look at the hole for Kenyon Drake. Run so fast, it's huge. You can hit your head on the goalpost, or in this case, a safety. So that's what it is, a 4-minute offense to get first downs. That's why it's key and critical. So that's just one play that's part of their arsenal, but they've got extremely effective and patient in running it. And over the last couple of weeks, they're doing it a whole lot better.
They are, and that's what you heard from the offensive coordinator, Greg Olson, that they're starting to find their identity. Week 10, this is a good time to figure out the run game and what that looks like. As, of course, the Raiders want to be a balanced football team and improve the run game. Will hopefully help the passing game that struggled just a little bit week 9. Certainly uncharacteristic for Derek Carr. However, I've got some good news. He's had recent success when it comes to playing against the Chiefs. Let's not forget, we did split our game against the division rivals. We won week 5. I'm not sure I remember what our second time was. Last time we played, we took an L. It was here. But we won week 5 on the road at Arrowhead. And take a look at his rating, his QB rating, completion percentage. In the last 2 games against KC, he's done quite well. How do you envision DC needing to turn things around quickly and prep and get ready for this matchup Sunday night?
I think it's worth mentioning that, to me, this Raiders team was built to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. And they're built with such an efficiency where they have to score touchdowns. They're not reliant on short yard or the field goals and stuff like that. The fact is that the offensive line, Derek has such a timing when he's playing against Kansas City. Offensive line hasn't given up a whole lot of pressures, a whole lot of sacks. There haven't been a whole lot of miscues. And the last 2 times they played, they were basically shootouts. And then now that the Raiders have a defense, that's going to be the difference maker because the defense has the ability to put pressure with 4 without blitzing, and they've got coverage. They're going to have coverage issues in the back end, trying to figure out how to stop Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. But I think Gus Bradley has enough wherewithal when coaching with the Chargers and seeing enough of this team to really know how to do it.
Yeah, and we'll talk more specifically about how Gus Bradley wants to guard against Travis Kelce in the next block. But the Chiefs' defense has looked uncharacteristic. I mean, we talk about Pat Mahomes and his struggles, but the Chiefs' defense hasn't been really able to keep it together either.
Well, yes, but here's also why I will tell you that, look, the rest of the NFL is going to catch up with the Kansas City Chiefs. It's not going to be dominant forever. So they found some ways of slowing down that potent offense. They found some way of getting to that defense. And, of course, like you're talking about, EC, the defense has really had its problems because they've had some matchup issues that teams have taken advantage of. And scoring touchdowns put pressure on anybody. I don't care who you're playing. So when you have touchdowns being scored on you by opposing offenses, it forces your hand in one way or the other to keep up. That's pressure on the offense. That's pressure on your quarterback.
Certainly good insight from you, Lincoln Kennedy. As always, coming up on the Silver and Black Show, head coach Rich Bisaccia will look to go 2-0 in the AFC West this weekend as the Raiders face off against those Chiefs. We're going to hear from Coach after the break. Stick around. Welcome back to the Silver and Black Show. Head coach Rich Bisaccia has provided a calming presence that allowed his team to navigate the uncertainty of the last few weeks. Now they enter the halfway point of the season, 2 games above 500, and staring down an opportunity to defeat a very bitter rival in prime time at Allegiant Stadium. Coach sat down with JT the Brick to discuss the upcoming challenge the Raiders face against the Kansas City Chiefs. Take a look.
Coach, Kansas City has a big three. In all sports, you hear about it in the NBA, but you hear it here with Mahomes, Kelsey, and Tyreek Hill. You look at them on film, and it's amazing what they're saying nationally about this team, that they're not the same again. People said Mahomes is having an off year. We both know they could be explosive at any point in time. What do you expect from them?
Yeah, you know, perception and reality, those are two totally different things. So the reality is when you watch them on film, they're a magical offense. They can score from anywhere on the field. He's unbelievable with the ball in his hand. He can extend plays on every down, and certainly knowing where 87 and 10 is are important things for us going in on defense. So we're expecting to play a really good football team on Sunday night.
What the fans have always seen in this rivalry are these misdirection plays. A play starts one way, it comes back the other way. And what I love about this season with Coach Bradley is the discipline on the back end. So let's talk about what the eyes have to see on the back end when a play breaks down, because Yannick and Max are coming after Mahomes, and the discipline on the back end, how important is that?
Well, you know, you hear Gus talk about it all the time, you know, rush and cover. They have to work together. And I think we've seen that. Gus does a tremendous job at situational defense, what situation we're in and what we're going to play. And I think you've seen us over a little bit of course of time here now is that defensive staff is gelling with the players that are here. We're starting to see a really good space tackling team. We're putting some pressure and affecting the quarterback, and we're playing pretty good on the back end. If we're supposed to stay on top, we've done a good job of staying on top. We haven't given up a lot of explosive plays, so we'll certainly face a tough challenge come Sunday night.
Let me stay with that. The tackling is really important, and it's changed around here, which is fantastic. Everyone getting to the ball, because it takes 2, sometimes 3 players to bring down these weapons of Kansas City.
Sure, and then the angles in which you take to make these tackles. So we're trying to play with a roll call to the ball mentality, trying to get everyone in the picture before the pictures ended up on the screen. And I think they've done a good job with that. Hopefully we can just keep improving.
Let's wrap it up with special teams. What do you see? You want Mahomes to go the length of the field. Field position is critical in this game. What do you expect from special teams coming in with your kickers?
Yeah, well, you know, it always starts with protecting the punter, and certainly they're coming off of an AFC week where Townsend was the player of the week in the AFC. He had a great game against Green Bay, and they're an opportunistic team. They're trying to score every time in the return game. So we'll have our hands full trying to cover them. We'll see how it works out.
Finally, I know you're excited. Sunday Night Football used to be Monday Night Football. Sunday night's just special. Raider Nation home again. Charles Woodson's in town getting his Hall of Fame ring. You got 10 gold jackets here. Again, an opportunity for Raider fans really to come in, help your team, and for your team to have a big win.
Sure, we're excited about playing at home. We're hoping it's real loud, hoping Raider Nation is up and clapping big time. And then obviously to go through this in the Hall of Fame week with this organization, playing a historic rivalry with the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday night national TV. What a wonderful opportunity for us to show our best.
Good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
The Silver and Black Show has been brought to you by 1800, the best taste in tequila and official partner of the Raiders. And by Chevron with Techron gives you unbeatable cleaning and mileage. Chevron, together ahead.
When you, I guess just looking at this like kind of philosophically, what is a deep threat, like that prototypical deep threat, what does that do for an offense in general?
Man, it does a lot for the offense. I think, you know, going in week in and week out, you know, defenders, defensive coordinators, they got to prepare for it, you know, because if you don't prepare for it, it's a dagger. You know, it kills the game, it kills the flow. So anytime big plays are able to be a portion of an offense and, you know, teams got to key in on that, it opens up for other players on the team. And just really having that threat on the field is always great. So, you know, being in that role, I mean, it's not always about yourself, you know, and me knowing that, you know, sometimes I might have to be a decoy, sometimes I might have to be a runoff, open it up for other guys. So, I mean, it's just something, you know, that I'm comfortable with and very familiar with, but at the same time, just whatever that role is, you know, they ask me to do, that's what I'm here to do.
Do you come into this situation now and at this point in your career with anything to prove, or you just want to go out there and just be the Deshaun that you've been for the past, 13, 14 years?
I feel like I always got something to prove. You know, that's why I had the niche that I'm, you know, able to come in, not the biggest receiver, but I play, you know, with that niche coming in here, you know, and all the doubters, the naysayers, I mean, it's kind of been that way my whole career. So for me, I think, you know, my stats, my career speaks for itself. I think I've been that guy that, you know, every time I step on the field, there's going to be something special, something dramatic is going to happen. So just continuously going out there and doing that anytime I step on the, you know, between these white lines, I take it very personal. So never content, and knowing I still got a lot to accomplish in my career. And, you know, here being a Raider now, you know, Raider Nation is something that I feel very proud about being a part of. It's a special place, man. So knowing that, I'm ready to get out there and have some fun, man, and be proud. You know, black and silver. I know the fan base are going crazy, so I just know I got a lot to go out there to offer.
All right, welcome back to the Silver and Black Show. Erin, Coscarelli, Lincoln Kennedy with you. The story of the AFC West the past few weeks, no doubt, undoubtedly has been the struggles of the Kansas City Chiefs offense, particularly Patrick Mahomes. In fact, the Chiefs have averaged 12 points per game over the last 3 games. Not the typical high-powered offense we're used to seeing, certainly from Kansas City. From your vantage point, can you put your finger on what you might think is going on in Kansas City?
Well, there's a number of issues. I think when you talk about the defense being as porous of the Kansas City Chiefs as it's been throughout this season, and teams are scoring touchdowns and putting the pressure on Patrick Mahomes, there's been uncanny, sort of traits that he's had. Turnovers, miscues. They've had injuries, their fair share of injuries, and a lot of the things that they've done in the past has now been negated. So, EC, it's a combination of all of those things. The fact that everyone has also got to know the Kansas City Chiefs over the last couple of years, so they're not surprising anybody.
Yeah, but they retinkered their offensive line. I want to talk to you about that. We don't have time. My producer says it's time to talk about Travis Kelce. Here's your Microsoft matchup of the week. You got Gus Bradley going up against arguably top 2 tight end in the NFL, Darren Waller being one of them. How do you guard against this guy? How do you do it? How do you do it?
One thing is, like, when you have some of those potent basketball players, you can't stop them from scoring, but you can stop them from being having as big of an impact. And I think that's the key to this defense, because Gus Bradley in his cover 3 does things a little bit different. They might even have to double up on Travis Kelce. Maybe you take Corey Littleton and the safety over the top to help. It's going to be different. I really don't have the answer how they're going to do it.
He hasn't been playing well. Hopefully that trend continues Sunday night. That'll do it for us, the Silver and Black Show. I'm Erin. That's Lincoln. Thanks for joining. We'll